myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. See friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. We welcome you here in the sanctuary and those who are joining us online from home. We ask that you turn off your phones during this worship service, with one exception. Please feel free to use your phone to access our hearing assisted system, especially if you have T-coil. My name is Michelle Corbet. My pronouns are she and her, and I am this morning's worship leader. During this month of nurturing gratitude, I think it's appropriate to highlight the over 25 people, congregants and staff, who worked together to make this morning's service come to life. Behind the scenes and often out of sight are our hospitality team, our communications team, our administrative team, and those people are Doreen and Jessie, Juliana, Jennifer, Jessie, our Reverend Danny Weber, Mary Solig, Doyne. And prior to and during the service, our ushers and worship assistants, Sue, Kathy, Joan, Ian, assist with the flow of many of the elements during this service. And of course, we have our AV, our tech team, Brian, Josh, Jesse, and John. They ensure our voices are heard at home and here in the sanctuary and project our words that we sing and speak. I want to extend a special thank you to Pat Dickinson, Anne Craig Howarth, and Lynn Howarth for numerous consultations on the topics that helped inform this service. Each week we are blessed with extraordinary, stirring music, including original works by our music ministers. Today, our music ministry includes Marianne Forbes, Benedict Legaspi, and Rachel Derry. In addition, Tanya Collins would gather and provide an enriching experience for our children following the story for all ages. And finally, but not least, our guest speaker and our storyteller today is Denise Davy. Denise is a nationally recognized award-winning journalist and writer. She is the author of Her Name is Margaret, Life and Death on the Streets, the founder of the Purses for Margaret project, which provides purses and comfort and toiletry items to women who are experiencing homelessness. And Home for Margaret, the focus of today's service, is her first children's picture book. And Denise lives in Burlington. Welcome to our guests, Denise, and to Ben. Whomever you are, whomever you love, and whatever your life circumstances that brought you to church this morning, you are one of us. You are welcome in this house of worship. Today's worship service is streaming live from our church here in Hamilton on the sacred lands of many peoples. We live upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. As settlers, we continue to benefit from the land and its resources. Ooh, I didn't expect this. As settlers, we must ask ourselves how or if we have shared and cared for the earth and its gifts. Facing truth is hard. Trust must come before reconciliation. Please settle into your seat for this morning's prelude. Hello.
Brother works in a factory, making cars for a salary. They've got a pool, kids and a dog, a pleasant life in suburbia. We'll close a factory down, what would they do? What would he do? Well, cities are built around industry, wages support families. Yeah, yeah. Close the factories down, what would they do? What would I do? I'm thinking while I'm driving around in my brand new car, wearing brand new clothes and drinking drive-through coffee. Take 'em away, what would we do? What would we do? Got factory farms making factory food, and we're being fed factory news. Yeah, yeah. Nobody's buying handmade no more. We're all shopping in big box stores. Yeah, yeah. Close the factories down, what would they do? What would you do? I'm thinking while I'm driving around in my brand new car, wearing brand new clothes and drinking drive-through coffee. Take 'em away, what would we do? What would we do? Well, our children will be left to save the world from what we leave 'em behind. And if humanity is on the brink of destruction, what would they do? What could we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do right now? Well, I'm driving around in my brand new car, wearing brand new clothes and drinking drive-through coffee.
Thank you, Marianne. Our chalice lighting is illuminated by the words of Erica Hewitt, "Until all means all." The chalice, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, arose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose as a sign of promise that the marginalized would neither be forgotten nor ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning, we remember all of the people who have been told explicitly or implicitly through police violence or government policy, through derision or dehumanization, that they're anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. As we each light a chalice in our homes and here in the sanctuary, may we make our lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not rest until all means all. I invite Denise to come forward to light our chalice. And please join me in our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. Thank you. This morning we gather together to worship as a community of all ages. Let us take a moment to look around at those of us sharing this sacred space. Let us recognize the hearts of our whole community, from our elders to our youngest and all the ages in between. Let us embody the beauty of this whole community. And even when there are even when there are a few more wiggles, giggles, and chatter, let us remind ourselves to listen carefully, calming our bodies and our minds. Begin by breathing peace and joy into this sacred place with 3 breaths. Know you are surrounded by the love of this community, where all are welcome, and as we are called to nurture one another, serve our community, and inspire action to heal the world. I invite Denise to come forward and share the story of all ages. No?
Yeah? I know there's not a lot of children with us today, but if anyone does want to come to the front, I'm going to read my new book, Home for Margaret.
Yeah, I've got to do this.
Oh, she's going to do the clicker. Okay. So it'll be showing up here. Emma loves going on hikes to Cherry Hill Forest with her mom. Today, the snow covers the ground like a sparkling white blanket. Watch this, Mom, says Emma, falling back into the snow. She moves her arms up and down. I can barely see you, says Emma's mom, laughing. Emma hears a loud honking noise and looks up. There are rows of geese. Look how they fly in a V, she says. Mom smiles. They're going to a new home where it's warm. Mom pours birdseed into Emma's hand. A gray and black chickadee lands on her finger. Emma watches the bird fly off. Suddenly, she spots something blue in the forest. I'm going exploring, Emma yells to her mom as she runs off. Emma spots a blue tent that's shaped like an igloo. It looks like one of the tents at the park near her home. Emma's mom says the people in those tents have nowhere else to go. Suddenly, a woman climbs out of the tent. Emma jumps back. The woman looks over. Her nose and cheeks are bright red. She looks tired. Hello, says Emma. The woman doesn't answer. Hi, says Emma louder. My name's Emma. What's yours? The woman puts her hand to her chest. I'm Margaret, she says in a low, raspy voice. Mom arrives and looks surprised to see Margaret. Oh, hello, she says. Mom, this is Margaret, says Emma. She turns to Margaret. Why are you out here? Margaret frowns. Because I live here, she says. Don't you get cold? Asks Emma. Yes, says Margaret as she pulls her coat tight. The snow came too early this year. Well, I hope we aren't bothering you, says Mom. Margaret shuffles back into her tent. On the way back, Emma asks her mom why some people don't have a home. Emma's mom is a social worker. She helps people. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have health problems. No one chooses to be homeless, says Emma's mom. Well, isn't there any place for Margaret to go? Asks Emma. I'll ask around, says Mom. When they get home, Mom calls several shelters, but all their beds are full. No one can help. They don't even have enough staff to go and check on her, says Mom. Mom, did Margaret look cold to you? Asks Emma. She thinks for a moment, then runs upstairs and gets her coin jar. She shakes it until several coins tumble out. The next day, Emma buys a red scarf with matching mittens and hat. She puts them into a bag along with oranges, apples, and blueberry muffins. Mom fills another bag with bottles of water and blankets, and they head to the forest. When they get there, Margaret's sitting by the tent. Margaret, Emma calls out, this is for you. Margaret looks inside the bag and smiles gently. Thank you, she whispers. On Christmas Day, Emma and her mom take Margaret a warm coat and a plate filled with turkey, potatoes, and cranberry sauce. Why don't you go to a shelter? Emma asks Margaret. There were too many people, says Margaret. It was too loud and I was afraid to go back. I bet you can even hear people snoring, says Emma. Margaret frowns. I need a place of my own. Listening to Margaret makes Emma feel lucky. In the spring, rows of yellow daffodils poke up all over the forest floor. At Margaret's spot, the ground is brown with mud. The tent is there, but there's no sign of Margaret. I wonder where she's gone, says Emma. In summer, the forest turns into a sea of green. Margaret still hasn't come back. Emma is worried. The days pass and the forest becomes a blaze of oranges, browns, and yellows. Let's just hope she's safe, says Mom. One day on the way home from their walk, Emma spots a woman wearing the red mittens. Mom, I think that's Margaret, she yells. Emma feels relieved to see Margaret, but she also knows winter is coming. Isn't there anything we can do to help her? Emma asks her mom. Mom makes a call to a new agency she just heard about. They tell her a room is available in their apartment and that there are people who can help Margaret every day. And she can stay as long as she wants, Mom tells Emma, smiling. A few days later, Emma and her mom visit Margaret in her new home. Thank you, Margaret says to Emma in her raspy voice. Emma and her mom are hiking through Cherry Hill Forest when Emma hears the sound of geese. Margaret used to be like those geese, says Emma. Emma's mom crouches down and gives her a hug. In what way? Asks Mom. She was always searching for someplace warm, says Emma. You gave Margaret a very special gift, says Mom. You showed her your care about her, and that will have warmed her heart.
Thank you, Denise. Denise will be speaking more about her story in the message area. We're an intergenerational community, which means that we gather together across generations and sometimes in our generational groups. We start services together because it's important for our children to be familiar with the practices of our faith and of our community, and it's important for our elders to experience the vibrancy of youth. Our children are welcome to stay with their adults in the sanctuary, to head over to Fellowship Hall with Tanya for some conversation and activities. As families decide to stay or head to Fellowship Hall, I'll be introducing the caring tree and our notes of love and reflection. So you may have noticed, in addition to our lobby this past week, the caring tree coming November 9th. Starting today and continuing over the next month or so, our caring tree will be a place to gather collections of various items to be shared with those in the broader Hamilton community. Today, our caring community is a place to collect the items you brought for the Purses for Margaret project. And as you entered the sanctuary, you were given a heart or a hand-shaped piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. Whoops. There should be the next slide after. Okay, I'll just say a few more words. So during this next musical offering, you're invited to reflect and write a message on the heart or the hand as sharing some heartfelt offerings. So on the hearts, and I do have that prompt on a slide, you are invited to share a message to a woman who's experiencing homelessness. The hearts will be tucked inside the purses and then shared with Mary's Place, where the donations are going. On the hands, you can reflect about the ways in which your hands have been helpful or could be helpful to those in our community. So when you're done, you can share it up front. There's a couple of baskets for the items for the Purses for Margaret or the hands or hearts, but the hands will go on our caring tree. And that tree will be used by the RE over the next month as well. So during this musical selection, take some time to think about a heartfelt message or a way in which your hands can be helpful.
Some hands have held the world together. Some hands have fought the wars forever. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? Some hands have blessed 1,000,000 people. Some hands help free the world from evil. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of a humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? Some hands can stop a life from dying. Some hands comfort a baby crying. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of a humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? I want to sing it from my heart. I want to hear it in
again. And all that we can ask is for ours to be free, to use them when we want, for whatever the need. Some hands give voice to a nation. Some hands wrote these times they are a-changing. So tell me, what can I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of a humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? Yeah, tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine?
Thank you, Rachel. Feel free to bring forward your offerings as we join in singing our hymn number 1008 from the Teal hymnal, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our stories from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. Our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Our offering is a tangible ritual that we do each week. And the words of Elizabeth Murphy, I think, fit so well for this time. Congregational leaders, both volunteers and staff, work diligently throughout the year to be careful and attentive stewards of the congregation and its funds. Countless meetings, reports, documents, and budgets are necessary to maintain the health of an organization, especially one that has endured for over 135 years. We depend on tools and on our teams to track where every dollar goes, and they do a wonderful job. But the gift you make at our weekly offering and through your annual pledge represents more than lines on a spreadsheet. Your contribution is a tangible commitment to the mission and vision of the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. Each time you give, you renew this commitment, and as a result, your support is entwined with all that we believe and all that we do here together. This is its own special gift. In the spirit of trust and generosity, we gratefully accept the offering. We'll now receive the offering while we listen to Ideal World by Marianne. Thank you.
Talking, people would be listening. There's only one earth and so many people. Gold is weighing us down, keeping our souls underground. I want to fly with eagles. Fly high like eagles. In an ideal world, there'd be no money, no greed, no soldiers to bleed for freedom. There'd be no one starving or thirsty, no suffering or disease, and death would be nothing to be afraid of. In an ideal world, idealism would be redundant. Everything would be just be, no worry. It's about responsibility, accountability. Is it so hard to do the right thing, or so easy to say no to being a hero? In an ideal world, there'd be no pollution, no corruption, people working side by side for life. For life, and life would be nothing to be afraid of. In an ideal world, there'd be no fighting, people would be talking, people would be listening. There's only one earth and so many people. Gold is weighing us down, keeping our souls underground. I want to fly with eagles. Fly high like eagles.
Thank you, Marianne. Your gifts and support of our ministries to one another and to the community are appreciated. Thank you. In these moments of contemplation or prayer, I invite you to relax, close your eyes if you like, and breathe deeply. Following our reading, there will be a few moments of silence, followed by music. During the music, you're welcome to come forward and light a candle of gratitude, joy, or sorrow. This morning's reading is from Voices from the Margins, an anthology of meditations. This meditation this morning is entitled In Gatherings by Marta Valentin, and this was edited by Mark Morrison Reed and Jackie James. In gatherings, we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon until we come to rest together, quietly, softly. We come to gather strength from each other. We come to give strength to each other. We come to ask for strength from the spirit of all that is and is not. When our hearts sing or when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in and through us. Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance that is life, we give thanks for reminding us each day of our task of ministering to each other, the searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building our beloved comunidad. Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another. In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none. Amen. Paz. Blessed be. We come now to a time in our service when we affirm the ways that we are connected in this life as we live into the truth that what affects one affects us all. I have three items to share with you. I think I'll begin with two, our sorrows, joys, and gratitudes. They're all three. This one from Sandy Lubert, joy and sorrow intertwined, deep gratitude for the love shown as my family said goodbye to our beloved 20-year-old cat this week. Also grateful to the congregants who have opened their homes to me. And from Joan McNeil, gratitude that our congregation is becoming more aware of the issue of the housing crunch, and hope that our event to mark National Housing Day on Sunday, I think you believe Sunday, November 23rd, will be a success. And I have one joy from Karen Trollope Kumar. Karen Trollope Kumar wants to celebrate 40 years of marriage to Pradeep Kumar, also known by his spiritual name, Javasu. Looking forward to the next chapter. Congratulations. Okay. We know that there are sorrows and joys and gratitudes that remain in our hearts. May this community be a place where all can be held in our hearts and shared at a time that feels safe. Our new practice is to give voice to gratitudes, and I think we have done that well today. If you would like a joy, sorrow, or gratitude shared with the congregation, you can do so by clicking, by going to the link on our church's website, but you also have an opportunity to share it over at the desk to my right. Sharing the tender moments in our life and witnessing one another is part of building this beloved community. May we continue to hold space for the community in care and share with the courage and vulnerability. I now welcome Denise to the microphone.
Good morning. Michelle took the time to thank so many people and left someone out, so I'm going to thank her. Anyone who's worked with Michelle knows she puts her full heart into everything she does, and putting this service together was no exception. So thank you very much. It was a joy working with you. I also want to thank Pat Dickinson and Craig Howarth and Lynn as well for their help in contributing to my understanding of how to talk to children about homelessness. So I want to start by talking about Margaret, because it was my meeting with her all those years ago that helped me understand homelessness. And of course, it was her story that inspired me to write my children's book. I met Margaret on a cold winter night at a downtown shelter where I'd gone to do research. And it was many years ago, but I still remember her frail, fragile body, her matted hair, and her thin, ragged clothing. I wondered as I stared at her across the room how it was possible that anybody could be treated so horrifically in a country that prides itself on having one of the best social safety nets in the world. I had to find out her story. What I learned was that she'd been raised by Pentecostal missionary parents who were Canadians and posted in the Caribbean. She'd played accordion and piano in church and taught Sunday classes. She worked as a typist as a young adult, and later even had a son. I wanted to know Margaret's full story, though, and with her permission, I accessed her medical files from the Hamilton Psychiatric Hospital. Inside her hefty 869-page file, I found the full truth of Margaret's story. Margaret had been admitted to the hospital at a very young age of only 18 and was diagnosed with schizophrenia and put on a strict regimen of medications, which actually helped manage her symptoms quite well. Unfortunately, it was 1961 and the start of something called deinstitutionalization, which saw the closure of psychiatric hospital beds. This was made possible by new medications which could control the symptoms of mental illness. And over the next 20 years, however, more than 80% of beds in psychiatric hospitals across Canada were closed. Unfortunately, the community outreach services and supportive housing that were supposed to have replaced those beds never happened, at least never to the extent that they were really well needed. What I would also come to understand, which was my big light bulb moment reading her file, was that Margaret's story was also the story of tens of thousands of psychiatric patients who met the same fate as Margaret, because they too were impacted by bed closures and lack of community services. And so Margaret made the streets her home. She slept in alleyways and alcoves. Street shelter staff knew her so well that they nicknamed her Princess Margaret. The police knew her as Maggie J because she spent a lot of time in their jails, which she actually told me she quite enjoyed because she had 3 meals a day. When I met her, she'd been homeless for 10 years, and as I mentioned, she was seriously ill. So how could I frame this incredibly complex story of homelessness and how it happened and who people are into a conversation that was age appropriate for children? And how do we all teach our children about compassion and kindness when we talk about homelessness? I let Margaret's story teach them and combined it with the simple story of a little girl who befriends her. The little girl finds ways to help the woman, and in doing so teaches children that homeless people are people too. But before you sit down to talk to your children about homelessness, it's important to recognize you're not introducing them to anything new. They are fully aware of the fact that people are living on the streets because they've seen them. When the pandemic hit, they likely overheard all the news reports that were on the news because it was basically every day. And more important, they saw their parks filled up with tents, and they were told they could no longer play there. They've seen people living on the streets, especially if they visited the downtown library, the farmers market along York Boulevard. There's always a long lineup of fellows across the street. But also some kids may have overheard their parents talk about those people and who were just lazy and needed to get a job. This is a reality because there are a lot of misconceptions about homelessness, and the danger is when family might pass those misconceptions along to their children. So really the most important thing for parents to do, and the starting point, would be to educate yourself on homelessness. Know that homelessness is not a choice, that it's the desperate act of someone who has run out of choices. Know that there are solutions to homelessness and that cities like Medicine Hat, Alberta, and countries like Finland have shown it's possible to end homelessness. Know that shelters can be problematic and unwelcoming places for people, and they can be full of bed bugs and infectious diseases that people can line up for hours and find out that they are turned away because there's no space, or maybe they were harmed there. Use simple language to tell your child that shelters are old and uncomfortable places that many people find too difficult to visit. In my book, Margaret tells the little girl that she doesn't like shelters because there are too many people there. That's how I simplified that whole issue. And she also says she was afraid to go back, which hints at the often chaotic environment in shelter living. Tell your child simply that some people have run into hard times and that they don't have a house to live in right now, and that can be really hard for them. Try and make your message one of empathy and compassion, and use words that lift the stigma of homelessness. Explain to them that some people have just lost their jobs or that they've become ill and they don't have family to help right now. It's important to let them ask questions and let them know that you appreciate that they're asking those questions and that you appreciate that they care. You can help children feel empowered by letting them know that there are things they can do, as little Emma showed in the book. Help them fill up a basket with food and clothing, and that you can take down to a shelter or to a homeless person if you're comfortable. And maybe they'd like to donate a toy or two. If you want to get creative, you can make a homelessness awareness mural in which you get a large piece of paper, draw ideas on it, and write those down. You can design a kindness tree in which children can write down acts of kindness and stick them on a tree. Or you can adopt a project like Purses for Margaret by simply putting the word out to friends and collecting toiletries and gently used purses. If your child shows an interest in pursuing any of these things, it might be something that they could actually take into their schools as well. For younger children, you can ask them to draw a picture of what home means to them, or draw pictures of animals in their homes. And if you read Home for Margaret to them, ask them how they feel after that. I think one of the most powerful things about my book actually are the images that show a child and her mom sitting across from a person who's experiencing homelessness. They make eye contact, they have a conversation, they're smiling just like friends. The images show that people experiencing homelessness are people too, and that's a powerful message and the one you want your children to learn. There are things that we adults can do too. Our homelessness crisis was created by one of the biggest public policy failures to ever happen in Canada, and it was made worse by subsequent governments that failed to address it. Homelessness exists today because of the lack of political will, not because we don't have solutions to it. And we need leaders who would stop wasting money on Band-Aid solutions for a problem that has evidence-based permanent solutions. We need to lean on our politicians and make it clear to them that we will not vote for them unless they commit to ending homelessness. My book, Home for Margaret, really, in my heart, represents the dream that I had wished for Margaret, that she have a home where she was safe and secure. That was my happy ending for her. And I ended it on that note too, because I wanted to show children that their actions can make a difference. I wanted to give them hope that there can be a better future. On the way here this morning, actually, I heard an interview on CBC Radio, and the woman was talking about a difficult issue that she's been working at for a while. And when they asked her why she had hope with so many obstacles that come the way, she said, "Hope is not an emotion, it's a practice." Is that the best? And I guess that's how I feel about homelessness too. I've given probably 120 talks on it. I have seen small changes, and I'm hopeful that the future can change. I know that even with all the apathy and inaction our politicians have shown, that I still believe it's possible to end homelessness. And it can start with small acts of kindness, like the one I saw at church a few years ago, when it was discovered that someone was living in a tent in an area adjoining the yard. A group was assembled, supports were put in place, and it was an example of how our church responds with kindness to injustices. Sometimes when it comes to teaching our children about kindness, the best way is to lead by example and to model acts of kindness ourselves. There's a poem I read years ago that's never left me called "When You Thought I Wasn't Looking." I don't know if anybody's heard of it. And it speaks to how our children notice our acts of kindness. I'll read a few lines to give you an idea of how it goes. "When you thought I wasn't looking, you hung my first painting on the refrigerator and I wanted to paint another. When you thought I wasn't looking, you fed a stray cat, and I thought it was good to be kind to animals." And I would add the line, "When you thought I wasn't looking, you said a kind word to a homeless person, and I wanted to show that kindness too." Margaret's life began like all of us in this room, our lives began, with potential and promise. She had a life before the system betrayed her, and it failed her at every turn, forcing her to live a life that was all about survival. Surviving the hunger, the assaults, the cold, the humiliation. I want to end today's service by sharing some words that Michelle actually found in the Lifting Our Voices book. They were written by Unitarian minister Aaron R. Payson from Massachusetts. They asked, "If a tree should fall in the woods and you are not there, does it make a sound?" The answer, "If a tree should fall and no one was there, listen for the cry of mourning birds who grieve the loss of their nests. They know where the tree lies. They call you to companion them as they search for a place to rest. Listen then for the mourning birds." The mourning birds really are a metaphor for a homeless community who have lost their nests. They're calling on us to act, to make space for them in our communities, and to rebuild what has been lost. If we believe we are all connected, that the fall of one tree affects the whole forest, then homelessness is not just someone else's problem, it's everyone's. And our community is not whole until everyone has a place to live. And so the question isn't whether the tree makes a sound, it's whether we are listening to the quiet cries of people who have lost so much. And let us remember, hope is not an emotion, it's a choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Denise has been my teacher in learning about homelessness in our community. In the coming week, as we mark Remembrance Day on Tuesday, whether that's through remembering at services, or reflecting privately, or through our acts of resistance as we focus our efforts on peace, please rise in body and our spirit in joining singing hymn number 1026, "If Every Woman in the World." Thank you, Rachel. As we listen to the blessing of music, may we know this ending as more than a time of goodbye. May the warmth of this community and the memory of our chalice flame sustain our hearts and encourage our minds as we engage the blessings of life's challenges and joys. The service has ended. Your service, our service begins. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love. And as we are blessed by the music of Marianne and Benedict.
Sing along.
Ooh,
I had one last quick announcement about hospitality hour. There are some chocolate chip cookies that Denise's daughter, Katie, who is a baker, has baked for us. And also Epic Books is here, and her book, Home for Margaret, is available for sale. So we'll see you in the lobby. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks.